Have you ever noticed that the more authentic you become, the more people seem to pull away from you? You drop the masks, stop people-pleasing, and start expressing your real thoughts and feelings. Instead of respect, you get judgment. Instead of admiration, you get avoidance. Meanwhile, you watch fake people get promoted, shallow personalities get celebrated, and conformists get praised for their reliability. What's happening here isn't personal, it's primal. And Friedrich Nietzsche saw it coming over a century ago. Nietzsche wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe." Let's get brutally honest about why they'll never respect the real you. Most people don't want authenticity. They want predictability. They don't want truth. They want comfort. They don't want individuals. They want herd members. Nietzsche understood that society is built on a fundamental lie, that we're all equal, all the same, all deserving of identical treatment. But some people think differently, create instead of consume, lead instead of follow. And these people make the herd nervous. Nietzsche called this the difference between master morality and slave morality. Master morality creates its own values. Slave morality follows the same rules and treats anyone different as dangerous. When you live authentically, you operate from master morality. But the world operates on slave morality, rewarding conformity, punishing deviation, treating authenticity like a threat. Nietzsche observed, "The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently." From childhood, we learn that being liked matters more than being real. So when you break free and start being authentic, you're challenging the entire system most people use to feel safe. When someone is genuinely authentic, what does that say about everyone else wearing masks? Your authenticity is a mirror reflecting other people's inauthenticity. Most people would rather break the mirror than face what it shows. Nietzsche wrote, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." Authentic people often feel lonely because you're operating at a different altitude, playing a different game entirely. The masses respect what they understand and admire what they can become without effort. Authenticity does none of these things. It's unpredictable, uncomfortable, and challenges assumptions. Most importantly, authenticity reveals that social structures and hierarchies are often hollow and meaningless. Nietzsche saw this everywhere. People get more respect for having the right opinions than thinking for themselves, more admiration for following trends than setting them, more praise for being agreeable than honest. This isn't accident, it's design. Society needs conformity to function. Authentic individuals are glitches in this system, reminders that another way of living is possible. Nietzsche wrote, "You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist." But most people need to believe their way is the right way. When you show up authentically, you prove multiple ways of being are possible, and that terrifies them. This is resentment. The deep resentment average people feel toward those who remind them of their limitations. They can't become more authentic, so they make authenticity seem foolish. They can't think independently, so they make independence look selfish. They can't create their own values, so they make non-conformity appear dangerous. Nietzsche observed, "The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. As well, the minds which are prevented from changing their opinions, they cease to be mind." Most people would rather die mentally than face the discomfort of growth. So when you show them what authenticity looks like, they don't see inspiration, they see threat. Here's the dark truth. Respect from the masses is often a sign you're doing something wrong. If everyone approves, you're probably not challenging anything. If everyone understands you, you're probably not saying anything new. Nietzsche wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often, and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself." This is the price of authenticity: misunderstanding, judgment, avoidance from people who can't handle your reality. But this isn't failure, it's success. Every person who can't handle your authenticity reveals their own limitations. Their rejection isn't judgment of your worth, it's proof of your power. Nietzsche believed exceptional individuals, the Übermensch, had to transcend the need for approval from the herd. They found validation internally through pursuing their own excellence and creative expression. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant. It means recognizing that different people operate at different levels of consciousness, and you can't expect everyone to appreciate what they can't understand. Think about the most authentic people you admire. Were they universally liked in their time? Did they get immediate respect from their peers? Most revolutionary thinkers, artists, and leaders were rejected by their contemporaries. They were too far ahead, too different, too threatening to the status quo. Nietzsche himself was largely ignored during his lifetime. His ideas were too radical, too challenging, too far outside the accepted worldview of his era. But time proved him right. His insights into human psychology, social dynamics, and the nature of authenticity are more relevant today than ever. This is the pattern. Authentic individuals are rejected by their generation and vindicated by history. But you don't have to wait for history to vindicate you. You can find strength in the very thing that makes others uncomfortable: your refusal to be anyone other than who you are. Nietzsche wrote, "What does not destroy me makes me stronger." Every rejection you face for being authentic makes you more resilient. Every person who can't handle your truth helps you identify who belongs in your life and who doesn't. Every moment of being misunderstood clarifies your own values and strengthens your commitment to living them. The goal isn't to be respected by everyone, it's to be respected by the right people. The people who can handle your intensity, the people who appreciate your depth, the people who celebrate your refusal to be ordinary. These people exist, but they're rare. They're the other authentic individuals who have also paid the price of being real in a world that rewards pretense. When you find them, the respect you receive will be deeper and more meaningful than any approval you could get from the masses. Nietzsche understood that authentic individuals must create their own communities, their own support systems, their own definitions of success. You can't measure your worth by the standards of people who have never risked being real. You can't seek validation from people who are threatened by your authenticity. You can't expect respect from people who can't respect themselves enough to be honest about who they are. Here's Nietzsche's final insight. The people who reject your authenticity are doing you a favor. They're showing you who they really are. They're revealing their own limitations. They're saving you the time and energy you might have wasted trying to connect with people who were never going to understand you anyway. Their rejection is a filter, separating the people worth knowing from those who aren't ready for genuine connection. Nietzsche wrote, "And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music." You're dancing to music they can't hear. You're living by values they can't understand. You're operating from a level of authenticity they can't access. Their inability to respect the real you isn't your problem, it's their limitation. But let's dig deeper into why authenticity triggers such violent reactions. When you refuse to wear masks, you force others to confront the exhausting performance they call life. When you speak truth, you remind them of all the truths they've been swallowing. Nietzsche understood that most people build their identity around being accepted by others. Their self-worth depends on external validation. Their reality comes from consensus, not conviction. So when you show up as someone who doesn't need their approval, you become living proof that their way of life is a choice, not necessity. And that terrifies them. Nietzsche wrote, "The most common lie is that which one lies to himself. Lying to others is relatively an exception." Most people are so committed to lying to themselves that your honesty feels like an attack on their existence. They've spent years building a false self that gets them through the day. Your authenticity threatens to bring that structure crashing down. Think about the workplace. The person who speaks up, challenges bad ideas, refuses office politics. Do they get respect? Usually they're labeled difficult. Meanwhile, the person who nods along gets promoted for being predictable. Nietzsche called authentic people free spirits, individuals who had broken free from herd mentality and learned to think for themselves. He wrote, "The free spirit is he who has liberated himself from tradition, law, convention, and religion, and who follows his own heart and mind." But freedom isn't free. It comes at the cost of belonging. Most people aren't willing to pay this price. They'd rather live in comfortable conformity than risk the loneliness of authenticity. So when they encounter someone who has paid this price, their first instinct is to punish that person for making a choice they were too afraid to make. This is tall poppy syndrome, cutting down anyone who stands out or dares to be different. Nietzsche understood this wasn't just jealousy, it was existential terror. The authentic person represents everything the conformist could have been, but chose not to be. Every time they see you living authentically, they're reminded of their own cowardice. Your authenticity confronts them with their own silence, your independence with their need to belong. This is why Nietzsche wrote, "In individuals, insanity is rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule." Groups think differently than individuals. Groups prioritize stability over growth, comfort over truth, uniformity over excellence. An individual might respect your authenticity, even if they don't understand it. But a group will almost always see your authenticity as a threat to their collective identity. This is why authentic people often feel more comfortable alone or in very small groups. Large social gatherings, corporate environments, and mass movements all operate on herd psychology. And herd psychology is fundamentally opposed to individual authenticity. Nietzsche observed that most social institutions, schools, religions, governments, corporations are designed to produce conformity, not authenticity. They reward people for following rules, not for thinking independently. So when you refuse to play by these rules, when you insist on being authentic in environments designed to suppress authenticity, you're not just being different, you're being revolutionary. and revolutions are always met with resistance. But here's what Nietzsche discovered. The resistance you face is proportional to the power of your authenticity. The more real you become, the more threatened others feel. The more you live your values, the more others are forced to confront their lack of values. The more you speak your truth, the more others are reminded of their commitment to lies. This is why Nietzsche said, "What does not destroy me makes me stronger." Every attack on your authenticity is actually evidence of its power. Every person who can't handle your reality is revealing their own weakness. Every moment of being rejected for being real is proof that you are doing something most people are too afraid to do. The goal isn't to eliminate this resistance. It's to understand it for what it is, the natural response of a system designed to suppress individual greatness. Nietzsche believed that exceptional individuals had to develop what he called amor fati, love of fate. This meant accepting, even embracing, the difficulty that comes with being authentic in an inauthentic world. He wrote, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity." This doesn't mean becoming passive or resigned. It means understanding that the resistance you face is part of the process of becoming who you're meant to be. Every person who rejects you for being authentic is helping you develop stronger boundaries. Every situation where your honesty isn't welcomed is teaching you to value truth over approval. Every moment of standing alone is building your capacity for independence. Nietzsche understood that authentic individuals must become their own source of validation, their own standard of excellence, their own definition of success. You can't measure your worth by the approval of people who have never risked disapproval. You can't seek respect from people who don't respect themselves enough to be honest. You can't expect understanding from people who have chosen comfort over consciousness. This is perhaps Nietzsche's most radical insight. The people whose respect is worth having are precisely the people who will respect your authenticity, even when they don't understand it. The right people, the rare individuals who have also chosen truth over belonging, will recognize something in your authenticity that speaks to their own journey toward self-discovery. They won't be threatened by your independence because they've cultivated their own. They won't be intimidated by your honesty because they've learned to value truth. They won't try to change you because they understand the courage it takes to be real. These people exist, but they're scattered, hidden among the masses of conformists. Finding them requires patience, discernment, and the willingness to endure long periods of misunderstanding from those who aren't ready for genuine connection. Nietzsche wrote, "It is not a lack of love, but a lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages." The same principle applies to all relationships. It's not love you need, but recognition. Not approval, but understanding. Not acceptance of your mask, but appreciation of your authentic self. When you find people who can offer these things, the depth of connection you'll experience will be worth all the shallow relationships you had to leave behind. But until you find them, you must learn to be your own best friend, your own source of encouragement, your own standard of what it means to live with integrity. Nietzsche called this becoming who you are, the process of shedding all the false identities you've accumulated and discovering the person you were always meant to be. He wrote, "No one can build you the bridge on which you, and only you, must cross the river of life." This bridge, the path from conformity to authenticity, from approval-seeking to self-respect, from belonging to being, can only be built by you, for you. Others may have walked similar paths, but your journey is unique. Your truth is yours alone. Your authentic self is something no one else can define or validate. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you can stop wasting energy trying to earn respect from people who are fundamentally incapable of giving it. So stop trying to earn respect from people who are fundamentally incapable of giving it. Stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. Stop apologizing for being too much, too intense, too real. The right people will not only respect your authenticity, they'll be grateful for it. They'll see it as permission to be more authentic themselves. The wrong people will always find something to criticize, whether you're being real or fake. So you might as well be real. Nietzsche's message is clear. They'll never respect the real you, and that's exactly how you know you're on the right path. Your authenticity isn't for them, it's for you, and for the rare individuals who can recognize and appreciate genuine human expression when they encounter it. If this perspective on authenticity and social rejection resonates with you, subscribe for more insights into Nietzsche's revolutionary philosophy. Share your story in the comments. When did you realize that being disrespected for your authenticity was actually a sign of your strength? And remember, the goal isn't universal respect, it's self-respect. And you can only truly respect yourself when you have the courage to be who you really are, regardless of who approves or disapproves. The herd will always fear the individual, but the individual doesn't need the herd's permission to exist.